Elon Musk preparas his stunning reveal as Black Millionaire Beggar makes Donald Trump's secret list. San Francisco barely sleeps. Neon glare bounces off glass towers. Somewhere, sirens wail in the distance. But what shakes the city tonight isn't the usual tech buzz or protests. It's the wild rumor tearing through the news feeds and whisper networks. Elon Musk, the rocket man himself, is gearing up for a reveal so big it could flip the future of space exploration upside down. And right in the eye of the storm, a black homeless man, ragged and rough, with eyes sharper than a hawk's, mysteriously tied to a secret list once buried deep in Donald Trump's private files. The man's presence in the city is déjà vu for many, yet no one knows where he came from or what he wants. He drags his worn coat across shattered sidewalks, eyes flickering like they hold impossible knowledge, knowledge that could crumble empires. People around the local coffee shop near the gleaming labs talk in hushed tea, yet his gut twists into knots. His work, his future is unraveling. Sabotage, not just some glitch. After years of blood and sweat, sabotage from a trusted colleague. Betrayal that stings worse than any failure. But today, something else seeps into his mind. That homeless man, always there, watching, like he's waiting for James to notice, waiting to pull him into a truth no one's dared breathe. While the city's heartbeat pulses between screaming tech ambitions and silent desperation, James only feels the heavy weight of where he comes from. A modest childhood, crushed hopes, and the endless fight to prove he's worthy. His hands shake as he sips cold coffee, eyes darting to the man again. That beard, messy and gray. Those eyes burning bright despite the dirt. Could this stranger be the key to what's breaking his world? Or just another shadow dragging him down? Suddenly, a message pops on James's screen, a trail of clues hinting at corruption that's deeper, darker. Not just workplace treachery. A hidden mess that climbs all the way to the city's shining towers and beyond. The rival, the one behind the sabotage, is poised for a final strike, a move that could destroy James entirely. James knows his choices now are razor thin. Trust this vagabond stranger whose secrets might save everything, or drown in his own doubt, risking not only a career, but the fragile hope of everyone dreaming to touch the stars. The coffee shop door swings open. The homeless man meets James's gaze, a slight nod. No words, just a silent dare. The air tightens. The city seems to hold its breath. What does the man want from James Carter? What must James risk before the final blow lands? The edge of the unknown is trembling right here, right now. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The door swings shut behind the homeless man. and the noise of the bustling cafe fades into a whisper. James's heart races, pumping adrenaline that buzzes in his ears. He can't shake the feeling that their eyes are locked in a deeper conversation than words could ever hold. As the man takes a step closer, the air thickens, heavy with unsaid truths. "What do you want?" James breathes, his voice barely escaping his lips. The man smiles softly, yet it's unsettling, like he knows something vital. "Everything is connected," he replies, his voice gritty like gravel, but oddly melodic. "You're at a crossroads, my friend." And then, just as James prepares to reply, a sudden explosion of sound from outside slices through the murmur of the cafe. Glass shatters, screams rise like smoke. The city, always alive, abruptly feels like a dying machine sputtering out of control. James jolts to the door, heart pounding like a drum. People spill into the street, a wave of panic. He squints through the chaos. Just beyond the cafe, a plume of smoke rises from a nearby building, dark and ominous. Sirens wail like banshees. Closer now, the sound weaving through the panic and confusion. "What's happening?" someone cries out. But there's no answer, only fear scratching at the back of everyone's throat. James turns to the stranger, but he's gone. Vanished into the crowd, as if he was never even there. A gut-wrenching thought claws at James' mind. Is he even real? With trembling hands, he steps outside, the acrid smell of smoke mixing with the concrete. People mill about, wide-eyed and bewildered, whispering in hurried breaths. Explosion. At the lab. A young woman stares at her phone, lips quivering. They say it was sabotage. Someone did this on purpose. His own lab, the very place he poured his soul into, now in the underbelly of chaos. Confusion morphs into panic, and James chases after the dark thought. That sabotage, could it have been more than just workplace rivalry? Was his life now embroiled in a conspiracy that spiraled beyond the realm of tech? Suddenly, a familiar face appears in the crowd. Emily, his closest colleague, her expression twisted in anguish. "James!" she shouts as she pushes her way toward him, eyes wild and frantic. I can't find anyone. They said there's a possible second strike." Second strike? The words hit him like a punch to the gut. Before he can think clearly, a faint but clear ringing begins, cutting through the chaos like a knife through butter. An emergency alert blares over the city's loudspeakers, icy and urgent. "Attention! Evacuate immediately! This area is under threat! A biological alert has been confirmed in the vicinity." A cold wave of horror washes over him. Biological alert? He scrambles back, thoughts racing. The cafe, his lab. All these people, what is going on? "James!" Emily grabs him, eyes dark with fear. "We need to get out. The man with the list, he knew something." Suddenly, a group of armed men in tactical gear rush in, breaking through the gathered crowd, barking orders. "Move! Move! Everyone needs to evacuate!" They're here for something, or someone. And with every step they take, James feels the ground move beneath him, like the very foundation of his life is crumbling. "Wait!" he yells into the mess, desperate. "What's going on? Who are you looking for?" But the only answer is chaos, noise spiraling as people scatter. faces twisted in fear. They all blend into a frenzied tapestry of panic. Then, from the corner of his eye, a flash of a familiar coat. It's the homeless man, standing untouched on the outskirts of the chaos. Eyes locked on James, unblinking. "What do you know?" James finds himself whispering, voice trembling. Just then, an explosion rings out again, this time closer, drowning everything in confusion. The ground shakes beneath him, and darkness spills from the shattered building, thick, crawling shadows that seem to stretch towards him. James can't breathe. What has he stepped into? Whispers of betrayal, secrets forgotten, a man with a list, and the looming threat of what comes next. But one question claws at him through the chaos. Is he still in control of his own future? Or has the city itself turned against him? There's no time to find out, as the shadows roll closer. The homeless man held James' gaze, an unspoken challenge hanging in the air. Silence wrapped around them, thick and tense. The coffee shop buzzed, but in this moment, nothing mattered except that connection, that fractured heartbeat between two unlikely souls. Then, suddenly, a screeching sound shattered the stillness. Outside, a car careened around the corner, tires screaming in protest. People turned, faces twisting with confusion and shock. James flinched, heart racing. The homeless man didn't move, just stood there, eyes locked on the chaos unfolding. Without thinking, James bolted to the door, thrusting it open, as a figure emerged from the vehicle, stumbling onto the street. It was a woman, disheveled, blood dripping from her forehead. Panic swirled in the air. A couple of onlookers gasped, whispering frantically, "Call an ambulance!" Someone shouted. But the woman wasn't just any stranger. She was one of James' colleagues, Karen, who had been working late in the labs. His chest constricted. Dread kicked in. Karen's eyes darted around, desperately searching, as if the world collapsed around her. "James!" she cried, voice choked with something akin to terror. He rushed to her, kneeling by her side. "What happened? Are you okay?" His hands trembled as he scanned her for wounds, desperate to make sense of this madness. "Sabotage! The project! They're coming for you!" The words tumbled out, each one heavier than the last. "I saw everything! What do you mean?" James felt the ground shift beneath him, the air thick with impending doom. "Who?" But before she could respond, an explosion rocked the street. A blinding flash of light ignited across the skyline. The blast threw them back, hitting the ground hard. Sounds of chaos erupted, screams mixed with shattering glass. The city seemed to gasp. James struggled to his feet, heart pounding, searching for Karen. She lay on the pavement, still and pale, and the blood continued to flow, staining the concrete. Fear constricted him. Time slowed as he turned back toward the homeless man. But the man was gone. Where did he go? The thought spun in his mind as he scanned the crowd, now frantically fleeing the scene. Was he even real? Neighbors surged towards him, faces etched with confusion, eyes wide with terror. He caught someone's gaze, a man pointing frantically, whispering, "They're after you." "Who?" James gasped, breathless. But before he could get an answer, sirens wailed in the distance, closing in fast. He felt the weight of the world on his shoulders, the walls closing in. Through the fear, a spark ignited in him, a deep-seated instinct to survive. He had to find out what was happening. All the dreams he held were on the line, and suddenly, that man, that beggar, felt like the key, or the curse. The reality around him twisted. James wasn't just fighting for a project now. This was life or death. The stakes soared, and as he turned to sprint away from danger, the back of his mind screamed for clarity. What if everything he thought he knew was a lie? What if the man, the city, even Karen, they all held secrets he wasn't ready to face? A truth lurked just outside his grasp, dark and twisted, ready to obliterate what was left of his world. The air crackled with uncertainty as James slipped into the shadows of the city, heart racing, pulse quickening. A relentless chase against time and fate had begun. What was he running toward, and what was he running from? The questions loomed larger than ever. James sprinted down the street, the chaos humming in his ears. The terrified faces of strangers, twisted in confusion, passed by like a blur. He needed answers, and he needed them fast. He darted into an alley, heart pounding, the brick walls closing in on him. Think, he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. Shadows danced around him. The homeless man had vanished, and with him, any hope of clarity. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the air. Another explosion. It shook the ground beneath James's feet, sending jolts of adrenaline coursing through him. He stumbled back, fear choking him. Panic surged in waves as he pressed against the alley wall, the weight of dread heavy on his chest. What was happening? A figure emerged from the smoke-filled chaos, staggering towards him, the bright red of blood stark against the gray skies. It was Karen, but something was off. Blood dripped down her arm, her eyes wild and desperate. "James," she gasped, breathing heavily, clutching her side. "We need to go. They're coming for you. All of this, it's bigger than we thought." "What do you mean? Who?" James felt a lump rise in his throat, panic clawing at his insides. But before she could answer, her eyes widened in horror. "Oh God, there!" Two men in black gear sprinted towards them, guns drawn. Their faces were hidden beneath dark masks, expressions unreadable. "Stand down," one of them barked, voice cold and commanding. "Run!" James shouted, adrenaline surging as he grabbed Karen's hand. They took off down the alley, the sound of heavy boots pounding behind them. "This way!" he yelled, cutting left and sprinting towards the back exit of a nearby building. The door swung open and they slammed inside, locking it behind them. Breathless, they leaned against the door, straining to hear. Muffled shouts could be heard outside, the men searching. James turned to Karen, confusion swirling in his mind. "Tell me what's happening," he demanded. Her eyes darted, panic reflected in their depths. But before she could respond, her expression shifted, from panic to something darker, more sinister. "You have to understand, James. It's not just about the project. It's about you. You have something they want." "What? What are you talking about?" His heart raced, the weight of her words pressing down on him. Before she could speak, a larger bang echoed from outside. The door shuddered as the men were trying to break in. James clenched his fists, fear mixing with anger. "What do I have?" "Your father," she whispered, eyes wide. "He knew everything, James. The technology, it wasn't meant for the public." James frowned, confusion written across his face. "What does my father have to do with any of this?" Your father was part of something bigger, a project that... She paused, as realization dawned in her eyes, horror creeping over her face. Your father is alive, James. He faked his death to protect you. Those words hit him like a punch in the gut. Everything shifted. The past, the present, it all felt like a tangled web. No, that can't be true. More banging at the door. We have to go now, Karen shouted, a fire igniting in her voice. They're pulling the strings, and you're in the middle of it all. James felt the world tilt. His father alive? It was impossible. Yet the truth hung in the air, suffocating him. Suddenly, the door splintered, and the men stormed in, weapons drawn. Karen pushed James aside, a fierce fire in her eyes. "Run, James!" she screamed, pulling him towards the window. As he turned to look back, Karen leaped forward, taking on the men. An intense struggle erupted, clothes tearing, limbs tangled. "Go! Don't look back!" her voice rang out, full of desperation. James hesitated, heart racing. This wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. It was about unraveling a truth buried deep and a legacy he never knew existed. As he leapt through the window, the night air hit him like a cold slap. He landed hard on the pavement, scrambling to his feet, breathless and shaken. But one question clawed at his mind. Was that the last he would see of Karen? He took off into the night, into the chaos, determined to uncover the secrets haunting him. The city loomed ahead, dark and mysterious, and somewhere in it all, his father awaited, along with the answers to questions he barely knew to ask. The air grew thick, electric with tension. The homeless man's silent challenge hung heavy between them. James felt the world tilt. The everyday sounds of the coffee shop muffled by his focus on that stranger. What did he see in those burning eyes? Was he just a lost soul, or a key to everything? Then, the door burst open. A group of men stormed in, faces twisted with anger, suits sharp enough to cut glass. They fanned out, voices raised, demanding something. James's heart raced. Were they here for him? No, for the man. One of the newcomers spotted the homeless man, pointing a finger like a weapon. You have what we need." The room froze. Gasps echoed. James felt the sharp sting of betrayal creeping into his gut. Who were these people? A jolt of recognition hit him like a brick, as he realized they were linked to his rival, the one behind the sabotage. The homeless man stepped back, his demeanor shifting, confidence flat as a fallen leaf. "Don't get involved," he rasped, but his voice was gravel, losing its edge against the chaos. James looked from the man to the intruders, feeling the wall of dread close in. "Give us the data!" one shouted, a nasty grin splitting his face. "Hand it over, or—" The threat hung there, unspoken but felt. James's mind raced. Data? What data? What did this man know that could hold the city's elite hostage? Suddenly, the homeless man raised his hands. "You don't understand. It's bigger than you think." Before another word fell, the group lunged forward. Chaos erupted. Tables crashed. Voices clashed. The man darted to the side, and James instinctively moved toward him. A shudder ran through him. His gut twisted tight. Maybe he could help. Maybe they could. Then it happened. A loud bang echoed like thunder, cutting through the roar. A flash of light. Time slowed. James felt the world blur around him. People screamed. The scent of smoke invaded the air. The man pushed James aside, taking the full force of what? A gunshot? A flare? The chaos morphed into a whirlwind of panic. The man crumpled, but not before looking into James's eyes. It's all connected. You have to... His voice faded into a choked gasp. James felt something snap inside him. Fear, anger, a tightness in his throat. "Get down!" someone yelled, but all James could hear was the pounding of his heart. He was no longer just a dreamer in a lab. He had stepped into a nightmare, tangled with something so much larger. As the dust settled, the suits scrambled for the door, abandoning their purpose. The coffee shop erupted in confusion. Panic spread like wildfire. And all James could think was, who was this man? Why did he give everything for me? Then he noticed something shining on the ground where the man fell. A flash drive. Trembling fingers picked it up. A single word glared back at him from the label. Truth. The crowd drew closer, whispers swirling, eyes wide with disbelief. What now? The lines between good and evil blurred as James stared at the flash drive, knowing he stood on the brink of a revelation that could change everything. Could this be the key not just to save his career, but the very fate of off-world exploration? But at what cost? The tremors of uncertainty rumbled deep within him, leaving a chilling echo that pulsated against his soul. What had he just stepped into? And what if the truth revealed a deeper betrayal than he could ever imagine? The door swings shut behind the homeless man, and James Carter feels a jolt in his chest. The noise of the city falls away, leaving just the two of them. The man's eyes hold something heavy and weighty, a truth that makes James's skin crawl. Suddenly, a shout breaks through the cafe. A woman drops her phone and everyone turns. On the screen, a news flash interrupts the usual chatter. Breaking news! Major tech firm hacked. Sensitive data leaked. James's heart skips. His work, his future could be out there in the open. That's not all. The man whispers, voice low, dangerous. James leans closer, breath caught in his throat. They're coming for you. They know everything. Before he can process the weight of the words, an explosion of sound erupts outside. Screams mix with the roar of sirens as people flood the streets, panic swirling like a storm. His gut tightens. What now? James looks to the man, but he's gone, slipping into the chaos like smoke. He shakes his head, heart racing. Was he even real? And then it hits. His phone buzzes viciously in his pocket. An unknown number. He answers, voice trembling. Hello? James, you need to get out. Now, the voice is disguised, cold as steel. They're not just going to ruin your career. They're planning to ruin you. What are you talking about? Trust no one. The man you saw, he's part of this. He's more than he seems. James's heart plummets, a wave of nausea crashing over him. The homeless man? A key player? A trap? Suddenly, a blast echoes, shaking the ground. A storefront window shatters, glass raining down. A crowd of tech workers rushes past, eyes wild and frantic. People are yelling. Smoke billows in the air, thick and choking. "Get out!" shouts a barista, waving at him to leave. He's paralyzed, torn between the chaos outside and the urgency of the call still echoing in his ear. "James!" the voice snaps. "Hurry!" With adrenaline surging, he bolts from the cafe into the street, dodging debris. But then he sees her. Jenna, his colleague, face pale and trembling. She's holding her phone, eyes wide. "James, they found out about the project. Everything is compromised." He stares at her, confusion turning to panic. "What do you mean?" "Someone in the company, working with them. It's all tied to the list." The ground feels like it's going to drop from beneath him. All this time, he thought he was fighting against corruption. But what if he was the one being played? Distrust slices through him like a blade. "Jenna, how do you know?" Because she gasps, "I saw the files." They were waiting to slow down the launch. They wanted you destroyed. Just then, the homeless man appears on the edge of the chaos, eyes piercing, finger raised to his lips in a silent warning. James's chest tightens. What's the truth? The crowd explodes in panic, and suddenly, a piercing scream splinters the air. "Look out!" someone shouts. James turns, but it's too late. A flash of light, an explosion, rains down. He's thrown backwards, crunching into the asphalt, pain erupting in waves. Everything jerks into chaos. Was that meant for him? Through a haze of confusion, he catches sight of the homeless man, now running toward him, urgency in every step. But why? What did he really want? Who was he truly? The answers swirl around like smoke. James struggles to stand, heart pounding, as he tries to find that man in the frantic crowd, desperate to understand it all. And as the feeling of dread crashes into him, one thought crystallizes. Everything has changed. Dark clouds gather in his mind, casting shadows over all he thought he knew. And in the distance, sirens wail louder. The night is just beginning. The homeless man's nod hangs in the air, electric and heavy. James can't breathe. He feels the city's pulse in his veins, thrumming loudly, as if it knows something he doesn't. The man, with eyes that seem to see straight through him, steps closer, his ragged coat brushing against the table where James sits. The air is thick with possibility. Then, in the distance, a loud crash. Glass shatters. The coffee shop door slams open. A young woman bursts in, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. "There's been an explosion," she gasps, chest heaving. "In the labs!" Panic ripples through the cafe. People jolting to their feet, chairs scraping. Conversations cut off mid-sentence. James's heart races. The labs! His work! His dreams! The homeless man's gaze sharpens. "They're coming for you," he states, voice low and urgent. James stares, confusion swirling in his mind. Who are they? What does he know? Shadows deepen across the cafe, but the man remains somehow illuminated. An enigma wrapped in desperation. "We need to move," the man insists. "Now." James hesitates. "What do you mean? What's happening?" But before the man can answer, someone bursts through the door. It's a man in a suit, the kind that screams power. But there's something off about him. His eyes dart around wildly. "Get out! Now! They're here!" Fear tightens around Jane's throat. He glances back at the homeless man, who shifted, now blocking the path to the door. Who are you? James breathes, desperate for answers. The suit-wearing man, breathing hard, yells over the chaos. They're coming for the secrets! If you've got something they want, they won't stop until they've taken everything. The homeless man's lips tighten, and for a split second, Jane sees a flicker of recognition, a flash of fear. You don't know what you're dealing with, the man warns. They won't stop until they've silenced you. Or worse. In a heartbeat, James feels the weight of betrayal and fear crush him. Could this man, this stranger, actually know more than anyone? What secrets lurk behind those gritty eyes? Shouting erupts outside, and the tension snaps. A flash of lights, blue and red, slicing through the cafe's windows. Sirens wail, crescendoing, like a storm ready to unleash its fury. People crowd the door, clutching one another, scrambling to escape. Suddenly, as if the world is moving in slow motion, the homeless man steps closer to James, his hand shooting out, fingers grasping something. A small device, round and metallic, glimmering with a glow that seems otherworldly. Take it, he insists. It's your only chance. James' mind spins. Questions flood in. What is this? What does it mean? Why should I trust you? He demands. With the throw of a dice, everything could change. The man's eyes pierce through the frantic chaos. If you don't, they'll have you next. They've been watching you for a long time. Before James can respond, the suit-wearing man snarls. They're coming. You have seconds. The cafe erupts into panic, screams mingling with the blare of sirens. The stranger stands firm, a lighthouse in the storm. You know the truth, James. You've got to choose. The weight of the choice hangs in the air, thick and unbearable. James's heart pounds. What does he really know? Who is this man? What lies ahead? He reaches for the device, and in that moment, the door bursts open, and a figure cloaked in shadows steps inside, revealing a chilling smile that sends ice through his veins. Everything he thought he understood begins to unravel. The truth lies just beyond reach, waiting for him to grasp it. The door bursts open, and a figure, cloaked in shadows, steps inside, revealing a chilling smile that sends ice through James's veins. This man, tall and imposing, is the head of security for the tech firm, visibly twitching with barely contained urgency. "James Carter!" he calls out, his voice slicing through the chaos like a knife. "You need to come with me, now." Every instinct screams danger, but before James can react, the homeless man raises his hand. "Wait!" he shouts, urgency flooding his tone. Panic flares in James's chest. What did this man know? And then, everything shifts. A gunshot shatters the air, sending bodies ducking and screaming. The tall man goes down, collapsing against the cafe counter, blood pooling around him, a stark contrast to the white tiles. Eyes wide, James feels the room spin. Where did the shot come from? Fear washes over him as he turns, searching for the source. But chaos erupts. Tables crash down, people scatter, and the world blurs into screams and confusion. In that moment of distraction, the homeless man rushes forward, grabbing James's arm. "Get out! You need to trust me!" But then, as another burst of gunfire erupts, a bombshell drops. James, the homeless man says, urgency thrumming in his voice, "I'm your father." The words hit like a punch. Everything freezes. The world around him stops. The man he barely knows claims to be his father? What? James gasps, disbelief ripping through him. That's impossible. But the man steps closer, eyes fierce. "I faked my death to protect you. From them." He nods toward the men in black, who are now crawling over the fallen security head. Searching. Hunting. James feels betrayal coursing through him, a fire igniting confusion and anger. "Why didn't you tell me all these years?" "Because you were safer not knowing. They'll come for you next." Everything blurred. His mind reels. The homeless man thrusts a small device into James' hand, the same one he'd seen moments before. The key to everything. "You need to go. Trust me, I'll set things right." Before James can process, the room erupts into chaos again. Another blast of gunfire ringing out. People scream. The man pushes him toward the back door, desperation in his eyes. "Now!" As James bolts for the exit, his heart races. What's happening? Was this all part of a grand scheme? And then another figure emerges from the smoke. It's Karen, blood dripping down her forehead, expression fierce and pained. "James, you need to run." He pauses, torn. "Why are you here?" But she shakes her head, panic etched on her face. "Not now! Just go! I'll hold them off!" Everything inside him screams to stay, but the homeless man's grip is iron. "We need to move," he urges, pulling James into the alley. Outside, the night air slams into him. The smell of smoke and fear thick in his lungs. Sirens scream in the distance, and adrenaline pumps through his veins as he glances back. He spots Karen, struggling against two men in black, and for a split second, guilt floods him. But the homeless man's voice is urgent, breaking through the fog. "Come on, we have to go now." As they round the corner, James feels the weight of betrayal. Secrets he never knew, unraveling like a thread pulled too tight. "I can't believe you're really my father," he whispers. "Yes," the man replies, but there's a tremor in his voice that falters. "But they also know I'm alive." A chill races down James's spine. Everything he thought he understood is shattering. What does that mean? But as they sprint through alleyways, a harrowing realization dawns. The truth isn't a shield. It's a curse, a trap tightening around him. Whatever game is being played, he's caught in the middle. Then a piercing scream cuts through the night. It's Karen's voice. It's unmistakable. A rush of terror hits James. "We have to go back." "No!" his father snaps, desperation lacing his words. "We can't. They will come for both of you." But it doesn't matter. James races back, heart pounding. He has to save her. As he nears the chaos, a shadow looms in his path. Another gunman, lurking and watching. James skids to a stop, heart hammering in his chest, the choice weighing heavy. This is where everything changes. Everything he thought he knew is about to flip again. The stakes are sky high. Secrets swirl like a storm. And in this moment, James realizes he may lose everything. What price will he pay to uncover the truth? And who will survive the unraveling storm? James skids to a stop, heart pounding, as he faces the looming figure in the alley. The gunman's eyes glimmer with anticipation, and James feels the world narrow, panic clawing at his throat. He glances back, this father's shout still echoing in his ears. But the urgency is like a rope tightening around him. "Go!" the homeless man yells. "Trust me." He doesn't want to. Fear and anger swirl inside him. Yet his instincts scream that someone needs to act. So he lunges. "Not today," he shouts, pushing past the gunman, adrenaline igniting every nerve. But the man's laughter cuts through the night like a knife, cold and menacing. "You think you can run?" Then everything shifts in an instant. A deafening explosion rips through the alley. The ground shakes beneath him. Dust and debris rain down, and James tumbles to the ground, struggling to crawl away from the chaos. The air thickens with smoke, blinding him. Shouts of confusion and pain cut through the haze as people scream and scramble, the scene exploding with terror. In the wreckage, James can barely breathe, heart racing as he pushes himself up. He glances back towards the alley entrance. Everything is chaos, but amid the disorder, he spots Karen, somehow emerging from the chaos, a glimmer of hope in this dark moment. "James!" she screams, a frantic urgency bouncing off her voice. "Over here! We have to!" But then, everything goes silent. Suddenly, the homeless man stands against a backdrop of flames, arms raised. "Stop!" he cries, but it sounds like a desperate plea swallowed by the raging inferno. A figure appears in the smoke, silhouetted against the fire's glow. It's a woman. Her face is familiar, yet twisted with something James struggles to place. A smirk, cold and familiar. It slams into him like a physical blow. "Did you really think you could escape?" she mocks, stepping forward into the flickering light. The fire illuminates her face, and James feels his heart drop. "Hello, darling." His mother. The very woman he believed dead for most of his life. The people he trusted were tangled in a web of lies. Shock courses through him, the world spinning as he struggles to process that one reality-shattering fact. What are you doing here?" The words escape him on a whisper, laced with disbelief. "You're supposed to be dead?" "A convenient story, don't you think?" She takes a step closer, her eyes glinting like sharp daggers. "The family business thrives on secrets, and you have no idea what you've been caught up in." The enormity of her presence hits him like a summer storm, shaking him to his core. Memories rush back, stories of loss, stories of courage, all tainted with the weight of her betrayal. "Why?" he breathes, desperation creeping in. "Why now? Why all of this?" As the flames flare, illuminating their faces in a hellish glow, panic floods through him. She smiles, twisted and cruel. "Because, darling, if I can't have you in my world, I can't let you live in theirs." James feels the ground shift under him, the weight of her words heavy. Everything he thought was reality, his quest, his father's sudden appearance, was a mere illusion, a distraction from the truth. The crowd on the street is frozen, whispers snaking through their horror. One woman gasps, clutching her phone. "Is that? Oh my God!" With her face now clear, every heart-wrenching strand reconnects. The web of betrayal tightens. She grins, and in that moment, James knows any thread of safety has unraveled. "Run, James!" his father yells. But the urgent plea feels like a distant echo. The smoke thickens and the fire crackles, spinning everything into chaos. Can he trust anything anymore? As reality twists beyond repair, James races into the dark void of uncertainty. He feels the warmth of betrayal at his back, an insatiable hunger for secrets looming ahead. What lies beneath the flames? What truth waits hidden? And as he runs toward the shadows, all he hears is his mother's mocking laughter trailing behind him. A chilling reminder that nothing will ever be the same. James bolts through the smoke, lungs burning, heart racing. The chaos behind him shrieks like a wounded animal. Sirens wail, voices shout, and explosions rumble. But his mother's face haunts him. Her betrayal cuts deeper than any bullet. He grips the small device tightly, a lifeline or a noose around his neck. "Where are you, Dad?" he mutters, desperation clawing at him. In the whirlwind of madness, he tries to piece it all together. Trust? This strange man claiming to be his father? His real father? The memories of a childhood spent feeling lost and alone pulse through him. Truth and lies collide. In a sudden rush, the homeless man, his father, emerges from the smoke, eyes wild, urgency etched in every line on his weathered face. "James! We have to keep moving!" But James freezes, memory flashing. "Why didn't you come for me sooner?" The words tumble out like rocks thrown in a river. "All these years, I was protecting you. It's more dangerous than you know." His father reaches out, fingers trembling like leaves caught in a storm. "You have to trust me now." A loud crash from behind sends a shockwave through the alley. "Go!" he insists, his voice rising above the din. They sprint together, weaving through debris, the city's heartbeat echoing in their ears. In the distance, a row of flashing lights signals hope or more danger. James struggles to breathe as they duck into an ancient building, walls crumbling around them. The inside is dark, echoes of far-off screams mingling with the crackling of fires outside. "James," his father says, catching his breath, "you have to understand. They want what's on that device. It holds the key to everything. The truth." "What truth?" James snaps, frustration bubbling. "You think I want to be a part of your game? It's not just my game, it's our lives." His father's eyes flare with passion, desperation shining through. "And now they know you're alive. You have to be ready for whatever comes next." Before James can reply, they hear footsteps outside. They press themselves against the wall, breath held as shadows flicker past. The figures are searching, voices low, urgent. "He can't be far," one growls. "Find him." James' heart plummets. They've chased him into a corner, a trap snapping shut. This isn't just about him anymore. It's about survival. As the footsteps fade, he glances at his father. "What if they find us? What if my mother—" "Don't think about her," his father interrupts, intensity swirling in the air. "She's a threat. She's been lying to you, James. Don't forget that." "But she's still my—" "No," the homeless man snaps. "You have to choose between her and the truth. You can't have both." Silence washes over them, thick like a fog. The weight of choices, of family ties, hangs in the air. Suddenly, a loud crash rattles the building. The door bursts open, engulfed in a blaze of light. Figures in black flood inside. "Found you!" one snarls, gun raised. Instinct kicks in. "Run!" James yells, propelling himself forward. His father is right beside him. They surge past their pursuers. Adrenaline pumping, hearts racing. The fight isn't over. Outside, the night is alive with chaos, the city caught in a frenzy of sirens and smoke. As they dart into the street, James steals a glance at his father. "What will we do?" "Fight back!" his father replies, determination set in his jaw. "We're not done yet." And in that moment, James feels a flicker of hope, a strange warmth growing in his chest. They push forward, surrounded by the energy of a world on fire. Enemies lurking in every shadow. The truth lies ahead, waiting to be uncovered. But as they weave through the chaos, the lingering question hangs over them. What will they find when the dust settles? This is just the beginning. You have to subscribe now. Don't you dare miss out on the next chapter of this insane adventure. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us deliver more pulse-pounding stories. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about what just went down. And please share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this mind-blowing twist. You know it's the moment to show your support. Don't wait even a second longer.